right, today we're here with Butchers versus Brewers. One of the most fun matchups in the game. Also, by far our hardest matchup. Butchers never win this one. Maybe other Butchers do. I never do. I think I'm like 0-5 against them. Honestly, since Guild Balls. Since my return to Guild Ball after COVID finished up. So, we're going to be playing Fillet versus Tapper. Lots of different ways to approach the Brewers matchup. We'll discuss that as we go along. Start with here though. Yep, Frankie's going to pick basically what every single competitive brewer does, and I'll walk you through it right there. That's not the button I meant to hit. Oh, whatever that did. We still seem to be recording. So this right here is the competitive brewers team. Frankie plays it a lot. Honestly, most brewers looking to win play it a lot. Play Tapper. Tapper carries the team very, very hard. Tapper combines a lot of different elements into one game. Super Solar Captain, great support, great threat bubbles. He does absolutely everything. He does great influence efficiency. They've nerfed that part in the March patch this year. They've nerfed out his the barroom brawl, so he doesn't quite give out as much influence. And he doesn't give the influence cap that he effectively gave out before. The big nerf to Tapper. He's still absurdly hard. And this game, from memory, was played just after that nerf came out. Revealing how old some of these videos I'm recording are. Anyway, the idea behind this team: Decimate, kidnap someone. Decimate has a lot of pushes on a playbook. Decimate's quite fast. So Decimate will kick off or use the ball, either one. She'll grab whatever forward player on the opposing team. She'll push them back towards Tapper, and then Tapper will push them into the middle of a little death ball. And then the Brewers will use that to win the game. So Decimate kidnap someone, Tapper sets them up, the team wins. That's the basic Brewers combo. Quaff then gives Decimate or Tapper second wind, whoever needs it. So that usually Decimate, so that they're not overexposed, they dodge back to join the death ball. And that's just Brewers gameplay. Hooper is then the killer, because Hooper triple dips on the damage buffs that Tapper gives out. He wraps and wraps and wraps and wraps multiple times and adds +2 damage to every wrap. And even with 3 influence cap, Hooper's easily capable of dealing 30+ damage in an activation. Spigot does something similar, not quite as well, and not 2-inch reach, but Spigot solves what's theoretically a Brewer's weakness. The Brewers mostly have 5-7 movement. Spigot for 0 influence. So on his heroic play, Spigot speeds up the whole team. So they're all now 7-9 move with 2-inch reach. He makes the Brewers fast. So Brewers are very, very fast, very, very tough, very, very high damage. Ultimate nightmare for the Butchers. So this is the team. Obviously there's a 6th player comes along. Against fighting teams, that player is Pint Pot, because Pint Pot brings 6 free influence. Remember how I've talked about in the past that Butcher's win condition is taking your opponent's influence off the board? Between Brewer's efficiency, Tapper's efficiency, and Pint Pot bringing 6 free influence, that just doesn't work anymore. So Pint Pot hard counters Butcher's, really quite hard. Another reason why this is such a nightmare matchup. If you're against footballing teams, you generally drop Pint Pot and bring Mash instead, because Mash is a contender for best hot ball holder in the game. Anyway, that's how the Brewers play. It is very, very fun trying to figure out strategies against that. I would love to discuss it with anyone in the comments or anyone in the Discord. I would love to discuss Butcher versus Brewers strategies. I do not play this matchup enough to finalize what I like and what I don't like. Plan for us is basically what we did against the Cooks in the last video. If a team is better than us at scrumming, I'm just going to try and score a goal with Brisket on turn 1, and then hope that we can kill 4 players before they kill 6. Same basic game plan here. And then the Brewers will punish the striker, but Brisket's someone we're fine with getting punished. Fillet. I'm not sure if we've discussed in the past, but one of the things Fillet, let's pause real quick. One of the things Fillet really likes is low defense models. Fillet has 8 tack, but she has a taxed playbook. She has a blank first column on a playbook. It's actually not a momentous 1, but it's effectively blank. What this means is Fillet's sort of like a normal 6 tack model, but she scales a bit better against low defense models. Plus 2 tack, but an extra column on the playbook works out to mean she effectively has a bonus against defense 3 models and defense 2 for the few there are. Fillet also relies quite heavily on hitting her blood rain on column 4, which is another reason Fillet loves hitting defense 3 models. Brewers are all defense 3, so it's one reason we've got Fillet here. The other reason is we want to collapse the Brewers scrum. We want the Brewers to not be able to safely put influence on their team, and Fillet is the captain to do that. The other part of our team is I've chickened out on taking roast. I have no idea if that's correct or not, but Brewers are very, very good at grapping on roast. They've got lots of pushes attached to everything they do. I'm not convinced roast really works here, but you'll notice it's left us without a killer model. We don't have anyone designed to just deal a whole ton of damage and take someone off the pitch except for Fillet. So we're going to be asking a lot of Fillet here. She's going to have to kill 4 models, or Brisket's going to have to score a second goal. Well, someone's going to have to score a second goal. So that could be tough. Anyway, we'll watch it play out. This is a big reason to put Boiler back in the 12. Boiler is a killer that matches up quite well against Brewers, potentially. But for this tournament, at least, I didn't have Boiler in my 12. I don't really like him in matchups other than Brewers. Yep, as expected, Decimate's kicking off. We chose to receive. I don't like giving Brewers control of the ball. They get to control too much of the threat bubbles. And I want to keep Fillet safe. I don't want Brewers controlling Fillet's threat bubbles. She needs to be the champion of that. Basic game plan, same as last match. Fillet's going to quick foot up Brisket. We're going to go score our goal. The Brewers are going to kidnap someone. And hopefully that'll mean 4 points for us, 2 points for them, and then let's start a scrum. See what happens there. Solid kickoff, the opponent for Frankie. Frankie's got this box to conveniently kick things into. But it does mean someone's going to be forced to be in Decimate's threat bubble to come and get the ball. So Meat Hook's designated for that. Once again, we're not using Fillet turn 1. Oh, okay, she got tooled up. Never mind, we did tool her up. Someone else could potentially have used that influence. Vedox for a pass or something like that. I don't know that Fillet needed this much. Oh, right. I think it was in case Decimate comes in early, Fillet could potentially punish. I remember the logic now. But anyway, Truffles has the ball, so Gutter's going to give Brisket the pass she needs to get close enough to the goal. Meat Hook's already generated the momentum, passing to Truffles. Vedox decided to stay out of Decimate's threat rate bubble. This was a mistake. Decimate's already got a target. Like, this is fine if we want to try and blank Decimate's activation. Decimate's activation is not going to be blank. Vedox could have realistically stayed with the team. He's pretty far out there. So I don't know that that was really necessary, caring about Decimate's threat bubble anymore. Except on Fillet. We don't want Fillet getting kidnapped. It'd be really, really bad. As usual, yeah, Spigot speeding up the team. Boff setting up second wind and pick me up. Pint Pot burns an activation. Now they've got the kidnap, the setup, and the killer left to activate. Hooper can burn an activation if you need to. Decimate doesn't have to go next. Just Decimate and Tapper for turn 1 is perfectly fine. But Frankie decides it's Decimate's time, and Meat Hook is getting kidnapped. I probably would have kidnapped Gutter. It's a little awkward because you got to push around the box, but you can deny Gutter's charge here, and Meat Hook's not that valuable. Whereas Gutter's charge is quite valuable. We have Gutter and Veteranox, both sweeping charge and whirling chains ignore tough hide, so they both just have perks where they deal extra damage to Brewers compared to normal. That's basically why we've got them both. And then Veteranox, the idea is you can threaten Tapper, you can pull Tapper into overexposed positions with whirling chains. And killing Tapper is going to be a big part of this game. I feel like I should probably explain why. Why is Tapper such a big part of this game? Give me a moment while Fillet dances around with her turn, and then we'll get into that. We're throwing the Pain Circle. They're only 3 defense. Chip damage on Decimate is useful. So I don't mind this Pain Circle compared to last game. We miss anyway. 2 dice character, please. 75% is a tough. But yeah, so we've missed that. I think we missed the one last game too. And I've never hit a Boiler Axe in my career. Part of why I hate the guy. Anyway, we got this quick foot on Brisket to get her goal. And now, so Meat Hook's been kidnapped. Tapper's going to come in for the setup. Right, to talk about why Brewers rely on Tapper so much, ideally we'd get Hooper's game plan card up, or Spigot's, but basically Brewers have really short playbooks. They have one shorter playbook than they do Tack. So the idea is they wrap quite easily. So Tapper gives a knockdown, direct defense. He gives a 2-inch gang up, and he sets up his command aura. So your opponent's at -1 defense, and you're at +2 tack. Hooper and Spigot both give themselves +2 tack with their abilities. And so they, and then Quaff gives an extra 1 with Pick Me Up. So Brewers very quickly get like 10 dice on a 4-long playbook, and they start wrapping like crazy. And that means they double dip Hooper's damage buff. So like, for example, Tapper's damage buff. Hooper triple dips it. Let's pause here for a moment because action's happening. So for example, on Hooper, I think Hooper has a momentous 4 at the top of his playbook. So if Hooper gets his 4, that's +2 damage, goes up to 6. If he wraps to his might be regular 2. I forget if his 2 is regular or momentous. That's 2 + 2. So that's 10 damage in a single attack from Hooper. He used to be able to charge as well, where he'd triple wrap and do crazy things, or double wrap, I mean. He does that less these days. But yeah, so that very quickly adds up to 10 damage, sometimes even like 14 damage. You don't have Tapper there. If you've got to knock them down with your own influence, and then if you're missing 2 dice, you hit the top of your playbook instead of wrapping, that's 4 damage lost. Or maybe it's 3 damage lost. Either way, it's a lot of damage lost on every single attack, and it's less influence, and Tapper doesn't get to give out his influence with his heroic. Tapper enables the wraps, and Brewer fighting lives and dies off the wraps. If you can get them just hitting the top of their playbook, they can lose scrums that way. Anyway, that's why killing Tapper is so important. So I've actually messed up positioning here a little. I didn't want Decimate tackling Brisket and kicking the ball in the goal. We'll get into that, but I think I blocked up Brisket too much. Because Brisket, I assumed I could jog over this box and be in super shot range with Quick Foot, but she hasn't dodged far enough forwards, so I couldn't quite make that. So Brisket's having a really awkward time with Gutter on the side front, with Gutter in front of her here, and a box in front of her here. That could have been much better positioning on my part. That's just a little slip up. So Brisket's having a really tough time, despite Super Shot and Quick Foot, actually getting into this goal range. So we're just going to measure running around Gutter. We've put our own bleeding circle here, so running past Decimate up here is quite awkward. I think I just measure this for a while. It burns a lot of the clock is another unfortunate side effect of this. And this is where I just suck it up. All right, I've made quite a significant mistake. We're just going to take this goal shot. Decimate's going to take a dice off us. Quaffer's going to take a dice off us. That's still 2 dice. 75% instead of 93%. So be it. I'm just going to suck it up and shoot. Accept that I made that mistake. I forget. I don't think she got to farm. I don't think she got to farm Decimate for any momentum because Decimate's counterattack was going to be too scary. Just the way the influence worked out. Maybe I could have. Maybe I could have tried to farm Decimate for momentous. Just hit these momentous 2s on her. That would have let me bonus time. Because it's sprint, super shot, shoot meant I only had 1 influence left, right? And I needed 2. Because the first one's going to enable a counterattack, which will get the ball tackled, and then the second one takes the ball. So yeah, I didn't have the spare influence to hit Decimate. Because Brisket takes 3 on a goal run. Anyway, 2 dice. This is still 75%. And Brisket nails it. Good on you, Brisket. That was very poorly positioned on my part. I still agree with making the goal run. I think we just suck up the mistake and do exactly what we did. I don't hate the play, but the play should have been set up so much better. That was a costly mistake. Yeah. So I've secured the +2 influence. We can now stack up Gutter, Fillet, and Ox. So we've got 3 threats going into turn 2 to try and threaten Tapper with. That's good. Meathook has been pummeled on 4 life. I think Hooper actually decides not to execute her. Hooper just decides to push her around a bunch for more momentum. We'll get into that at the top of turn 2. Exactly why you do that. It's also part of why I think the Fang Death game plan card is nowhere near as bad as people think it is. It still isn't good. There are matchups like this where it's very, very important. Yep, Hooper sets Meathook to 1, then pushes her around a bunch instead of killing her. This is the plan. We let the opponent do their thing, but we got a no Brisket goal. So let's go from here. See what happens from here. Pause for a moment. So Frankie obviously crushes momentum, 8 momentum to 1. They got to farm Meathook for a million momentum here, so we're always going to lose that. And this is where either Fang Death or No Guts, No Glory is great. Because, yeah, Frankie does some big rival stuff, pushes people around, whatever. Yeah, don't care. Good for you. Do that. And No Guts, No Glory takes out Meathook before the influence allocation phase. Very, very important. And Frankie should have played around this. If you haven't seen this card in this matchup, Meathook should have been left on 6 life. Because this is amazing for us. I would say right now, we are strongly ahead in this game in the Nightmare matchup. And I guess I did promise we'll get into why at the top of turn 2. The why is simply for last activation. The first activation, obviously Meathook was planned to be executed. Now that Meathook's on the pitch, we get to make our full 6 activations. Frankie's going first, and we will get last activation. And you've seen 2 games now, and I've talked a lot about how powerful Fillet going last on turn 2 and first on turn 3 is how Fillet wins games. We can go last now. Fillet can blood rain this team, beat people up, and then top of the turn, Tapper can be executed, full stacks of influence can be executed. Fillet can win this scrum, even against the tough-eyed Brewers. Fillet can absolutely win this scrum with her double activation. So Frankie was really trying to deny that. If he manages to kill a model before they activate, then Frankie gets first activation and he gets last activation. No Guts, No Glory's just denied that. So yeah, I think Frankie will remember for next time. If he hasn't seen the card, leave them on 6 health instead of 1. Because this is brutal for him. And Fang Death would have done something similar. Fang Death's the one where even if the model is taken out, you can still activate them for 4 hit points on someone else for a rest. if you remember that game. Most people tend to forget that game plan card, but it does the same sort of thing. The other perk is now that Meat Hook's jogged back on, we can give her an influence and we can tool up Fillet again. So Meat Hook hasn't had her activation denied. Yep, we stack everyone up. Brisket's the Brewer's obvious target now. She doesn't need any influence. Like, if she gets 2, she could throw a dirty knife, it'd be nice, but doesn't need any. Okay, Tapper. One of the Brewer's weaknesses is Tapper really does have to activate first. The rest of the team doesn't operate well without his aura. So Tapper activates, he beats up Brisket, knocks her down, deals a bunch of damage, sets up his aura. And disaster. I don't know the maths on this. This is one of the big reasons I bring Brisket instead of Lane or Shank. Is 4-1, I think, is noticeably harder for Tapper to one-shot than 4-0. 4-0, it's like 50-50-ish from memory. It's really hard to do the full maths on that. 4-1, it's quite difficult for Tapper to take them out from full, and Frankie didn't bonus time this down either. So if every attack was bonus timed, I think it's still unlikely. But I think this was quite a strong spike for Tapper to one-shot Brisket here. And I'm aware Tapper has a gang up. Decimate is providing this gang up. I could be wrong. Maybe the maths is a lot stronger and Tapper does do this regularly. But the one shot on Brisket here from before she could activate is a disaster. Because we just lost last activation again. Remember how I was saying it was so good that we still get Meat Hook's activation? Even if Brisket didn't do anything, if she was knocked to 1 health and all Brisket did was stand up and pass, fine. As long as she's had that activation. We get a disaster here. She is gone. And Fillet has copped a marked target. That's sort of to be expected. I'm not that afraid because she's nowhere near the commanding aura. And I don't think it's that easy for Tapper to bring the commanding aura forwards right now. The Butchers can threaten him. I'm not that afraid of threats on Fillet at the moment. Decimate could kidnap her, but if Decimate kidnaps her, Fillet just activates, beats up Decimate, and runs away again. Isn't the end of the world, and that'll probably get Decimate killed. Because Quaff doesn't have the same sort of setup opportunities as he did turn 1. The activation cost of activating Quaff is higher. Anyway, Gutter's going to take a charge before it gets ruined. Let's beat some people up. Let's put out some damage. Getting ready for Fillet's activation, basically. Get the bleeds on so that Fillet's already got it ahead of time. Get chip damage on. So, Gutter's just going to do a bunch. Decimate completely whiffs the counterattack with 0 results. And then from there, Gutter can't do much with the rest of her influence. Jabs people for, I think. That's, oh no, she gets a pig stick, and that's right. Yeah, we get to pig stick Pint Pot as well. Not sure if we're supposed to pull Pint Pot or if we're just supposed to just leave him there. Either way, we definitely want Pint Pot to start bleeding. I think I like pulling him into the 2. It's probably bad pulling him into the 2 inches. Butchers have too many pushes. Maybe it just didn't matter. Anyway, we got good damage with Gutter down. This is exactly what she's designed to do. Happy for Gutter to die here. Hooper probably kills her. More than happy for Gutter to die. That's what the model's designed to do. As long as Fillet can collapse this scrum here at the end of the turn and next turn, we're good. That's all she needs to do. And ideally we have Veteran Ox. Yeah, I think I'd measured out. Veteran Ox was just outside of pulling Tapper, so I think Gutter's last influence was actually a 1-inch push just to get Tapper within range of Veteran Ox's stuff. So that was quite important too, and that was a bit of a punish for putting Veteran Ox so far out. Kept him outside of Decimate's threat range on turn 1. Not necessary. Obviously, action was happening. Decimate was having a turn. Ox should have been ready on this cover or something. Ready to go in and start fighting now. Really, Truffle's position maybe also could have been better. Truffles is currently behind because I wanted Brisket up here, the Brisket and Gutter thing we did. But if Brisket was positioned more aggressively, Truffles could have been positioned here, and Truffles might have been able to charge Tapper. Anyway, Ox pulls Tapper in. Trying to pull him in. I was trying to figure out if we pull him a little shorter, can Truffles get a charge lane on him? I'm not sure. that's the tiny sliver we have to work with, and Truffle's the arc on the base. I'm not sure if Truffles can actually get onto that tiny sliver. But I gave up in the end and just pulled Tapper the whole way. Yeah, Truffle's just gonna have to suck it up. This is good. Gutters hit Tapper, Oxes hit Tapper, Tapper's chunked, Tapper's in a very exposed position. Hooper's turn. Hooper's in the aura. We've brought the aura forwards. Still don't think Hooper could get onto Fillet. Oh, maybe Hooper could have gotten onto Fillet. Within the aura, within the commanding aura, I mean. Either way, so this was an education. Let's pause again. This was a very educational moment. I learned something about Butchers versus Brewers here. I don't think Hooper's only got a 2 kick. Trying to kick the ball to tap is quite risky when Ox is crowding him out. That's just a 50-50. But Hooper can come and knock down Ox and tap in past to Hooper, and Hooper's now safe. Tapper's now safe. Sorry. Tapper dodges back with the ball. Completely undid Ox's entire activation. Now, it sort of did cost Hooper's activation. Hooper didn't get to do the big damage hits, just knock down Ox. So it's not the end of the world. But our premise of overexposing Tapper with Ox sort of just fell apart. And this was informative. So the premise was score a goal and then win the points race. If we're doing that, we can't really take veteran Ox because we give the opponent the ball and Ox is counted too hard by Brewers with the ball. They can realistically always do this. Knock him down, pass to get Tapper to safety. So I don't think we can play veteran Ox if we're planning to give the opponent the ball on turn 1. If we're playing veteran Ox, our goal has to be planned for the end of the game, where we hold the ball all game. Easier said than done. And then score at the end for the last 4 points. That'll work with Ox. Whether we freeze the ball or use the ball in the meantime, I'm not sure. Or we can score turn 1, absolutely, threaten the 2-2 and etc. Secure the influence early. But if we're going to do that, we can't do the Ox thing. These two have too much negative synergy. The early goal and the Ox, too much negative synergy. Don't do both. So that was informative. Not something I'd realized before playing this game. For what it's worth, I'd lean towards just not playing veteran Ox. But I like my early goals. I like securing the points early. It's like people like Hooper are terrible at scoring goals, but Brewers are very good at sitting in the middle of the pitch. Someone like Hooper here can just receive the ball suddenly, run to here, and kick it in the goal. Even though they're terrible at it. Models sitting in the middle of the pitch can just receive the ball at the end of the turn and kick it in. The Truffles gets their charge on Hooper by the looks of it. What did you do with it? Did you not knock down Hooper? Oh, no, you couldn't reach Hooper. Right. No, this was the funny moment. Truffles couldn't reach Hooper, so Truffles declared a charge, vindictive charge on Pint Pot, and ended up engaging Hooper. The gang up. Because Pint Pot gave the extra 2 inches on the smell blood, Truffles could smell blood on Pint Pot. Didn't get to make an attack, of course, but it means Truffles did actually get into the scrum to provide that extra gang up and crowd out. Okay, Gutter gets obliterated, as expected. Gets obliterated by a 0 influence Pint Pot. 0 influence on this bottle, and that's the strength of Pint Pot. That's what part of why Pint Pot just hard counters Butchers. It's so hard to win a scrum against an opponent with 7 more influence than you every turn. You just can't take off priority targets. Their entire team is fully stacked killers. I haven't solved that problem yet. If anyone's got any ideas on how to solve that problem, let me know. Okay, so we finally get the Fillet activation. Fillet's going to come and mess people up. think, yeah, Pine Pot put up resilience, so I've decided Hooper's the target. We're going to go kill Hooper. We don't have a good charge. I think, yeah, we do have a good jog. Trying to figure out jogging into Hooper. End up doing. Staying outside of Pine Pot's 1 inches. Trying to get into base contact with Hooper so we can't push us out on 1. Hooper's a nice target for Fillet because his double push is terrible. Way up on 4. So it's much easier for her to stick to him. And we can like dodge over to Pint Pot if we want. We can dodge over to Tapper. We can play with these targets however we like. Yep. Why am I burning so much clock on this? Come on, Fillet, just jog over there. Start punching him. You don't have the clock. Yep. Just trigger a blood rain. Everyone gets hurt, starts bleeding. I had to dodge into base contact today. I forget what happened. We'll get a blood rain next hit anyway. Yeah, if it doesn't get the double push. Cool. 5 results. One goes boom. Yep, Temper starts bleeding as well. Now tooled up and smell blood. We're dealing the big damage to Hooper now, even through his tough hide. This is exactly what we want. We want to collapse this scrum. We want to win momentum. We want to delete either Tapper or a fully stacked someone else. Either way. With Fillet at the top of the next turn. And then, or the ball is sitting right here. Fillet at the top of next turn can absolutely get onto Tapper, steal that ball, and kick it in. That just means we need one more takeout, and both Pint Pot and Decimate are chunked and exposed. So there's a bunch of stuff we can do next turn. Try and win this game. But this is where that brisket death comes back to get us. The fact that Tapper managed to one-tap brisket there. Fillet's not going last. Spigot's going last. Spigot gets to come in, gets to punch Fillet and knock her down. We're still going to win momentum. Fillet made an enormous amount of momentum. I think Frankie spent a bunch of it clearing bleeds earlier. I think, yeah, spent a lot of momentum clearing Gutter's bleeds. So Fillet came and reapplied it all. Health isn't really a problem. Fillet heals off the bleeding models anyway. But the problem is we can't cure the knockdown because we don't have another activation to go. And Fillet, we go first. Fillet can't clear with momentum going first. You don't start with a point of momentum. So Fillet knockdown here is a disaster. So we really, really needed Fillet. We needed Spigot to go first and do something like punch Ox or something, and then Fillet go in last. Very badly needed that. It's possible I could have set it up so that Spigot couldn't reach Fillet. Maybe there was an attacking Pint Pot line and then dodging backwards line. Little pressured by the clock, but it's possible there was something there that we could have still salvaged it with threat bubbles on Spigot. Anyway, high press, we're just going to dodge all these squaddies in, gang up on Spigot. Yep, people come back. We don't really care. There's another turn in the game. Brisket can run to this fast ground, and then next turn we can kick the ball over here and Brisket can score. Maybe. If there's another turn in this game. And there could be. There are definitely worlds where we don't get to 12 points, but we do kill enough models that the Brewers can't act. Definitely worlds like that. So Fillet's been messed up by Spigot, which means Meat Hook has to go first. Meat Hook's the sacrifice. She's going to stand in between Tapper and Fillet, because Tapper will threaten to kill Fillet here. She's already knocked down, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And she's very easily pushed into gang ups. I don't know the maths on that, but Tapper's got a good chance of killing Fillet. So Meat Hook's just going to stand in between them. So this was a little embarrassing. pushed Spigot into Fillet. The idea being, oh, Fillet can clear her conditions and then kill Spigot before moving. Great, okay. And then I realized, wait, if Spigot's engaging Fillet, Tapper might just kill her with that gang up. I need Tapper to not have gang up at the moment, so we just pushed him back out. And of course, Fillet gets her tooled up. So Tapper decides not to have a go at Fillet. I don't think he could kill her here with Meat Hook in the way. Decides to just blow up Meat Hook again from memory, get to 8 points. Eight points, just a goal away from winning now, or a Vedox Fillet kill. Either of those can happen. Pint Pot can definitely kill Fillet here. That'd be tough to kill both of them this turn. Tapper managed to deal some, kills Meat Hook and has enough left over to deal a bunch of damage to Fillet. Tapper is a very, very strong model. But he had some gang ups on Meat Hook to help. And that's enough momentum to clear conditions on Spigot. I think you cleared conditions on Spigot, didn't you? And did Meat Hook setup? No, maybe Frankie didn't. Anyway, Fillet's going to clear her conditions. Tapper's Frankie. This is part of the downside of versing Frankie. Frankie's very good at Tapper scrums. If Tapper's half an inch forward here, I think Fillet can do a lot better. Exactly where these three models are placed, Fillet gets really messed up by the grout out. Is unfortunate. And Fillet has to activate because Pint Pot's just going to kill her without trying. Pint Pot's got a very, very easy kill here. So this has to be Fillet's turn. I went for Spigot. I decided to use the snare and the bleeding. I think I used the legendary last turn, right? While we had 4 models bleeding. I think I just missed commentating that, but anyway, Fillet is going to hunt Spigot here. I think this was a pretty big mistake. I think Fillet had to try and kill Pint Pot. Pint Pot's carrying 5 influence, Spigot's only carrying 2. I think we had to try and take Pint Pot off the board here. He hasn't activated yet. He doesn't have his resilience. I think we could have quite comfortably. I think I made a significant mistake here. Yeah, I'm dodging out of Spigot's counterattack and then dodging back in. We just take Tapper crowd out. Yeah, Tapper crowd out trying to kill Pint Pot would be awkward, but like we could dodge over to here, get out of it, and still hit Pint Pot. I think we could have killed Pint Pot there and done better. And then Spigot is going to struggle to, and Fillet heals up to 11. No, she'd already cleared the conditions. So on 7 life, she might have actually died to decimate or Spigot there, but either way, we decided to kill Spigot here. I think this was a very bad mistake on my part. That's what I did. And ultimately, didn't go for Tapper here. It's the other option. We could have gone for the 0 influence Tapper. That's always a really hard decision. When do you go for the 0 influence Tapper versus the fully stacked killer? Either Hooper or Pint Pot, or 4 influence Spigot. Tapper's frequently the right choice there. Don't think it is here, just because we're suffering the crowd out. Tapper has more health remaining, so Spigot had less health and snared, and Pint Pot didn't have his resilience up. Pint Pot's not tough hide. So I think Tapper was the hardest one to kill there. He wasn't necessarily the highest reward either. If we kill Tapper, Pint Pot kills Fillet still. So I think I like not killing Tapper there. And ultimately, this is also why Fillet might not be my pick in this matchup anymore. I believe Tapper's double push is on 3. His counterattack is just too scary for her. Fillet can single dodge to dodge counterattacks, but her double dodge is on 5. It's very hard for her to hit Tapper, bounce out of the counterattack, and then bounce back in. She's got to hit 5 on the playbook twice. It's just, yeah, Tapper's counterattack might be too scary to play Fillet in this matchup. If Fillet can't threaten Tapper, if she's got to threaten squaddies instead, then why are we playing her? So that might be the death knell for Fillet in this matchup, despite all the other reasons to play Fillet, all the ways this matchup plays that Fillet really, really likes. That alone might be a death knell for it. We'll see. There's lots and lots of planning to do in Witches vs. Brewers. I love that part. It's a very fun part of Guild Ball to me. And I do not have the answers in this matchup yet. Not by a long shot. I have beaten Brewers before. I've beaten very talented Brewers players before. But they've definitely got the much better end of the win rate. Both Tapper and Corker. Never played against Estes, but you wouldn't bring Estes against Butchers anyway. Okay. Pine Pot's decided to delete Veteran Ox instead of Fillet. Fair enough. Ox is carrying a full stack of influence. Just deleting that influence. Goodbye. So now we're trying a momentum race. So we've got 6, they've got 3. Decimate's going to struggle to kill Fillet here. I think, oh, probably not. Decimate's damage isn't great, but she is under Tapper Aura. So she only has to hit the Momentous 2 once. Fillet's in cover. Decimate probably does kill Fillet here on average. Anyway, put Truffles in the way. Try and make momentum here. Truffles dies, they don't win. And then win momentum and Fillet kills everyone. That's what we're going for. Again. That's always the name of the game for Fillet. She frequently does it. So, Truffles, yeah, gets their momentous knockdown. I think tries to knock down Pine. No, tries to make a momentum somewhere else. Pine Pot's got 1 armor, right? Yes. Fails to hit Pine Pot. I think Pine Pot's a 2-1. Unless they're a 2-2. There might be a 2-2. I always forget. So yeah, Poff comes in, gives the ball to Decimate, and remember what I said about Brewers just sitting in the middle of the pitch can score goals? Decimate is sitting in the middle of the pitch. Decimate's going to go score a goal. I feel like Decimate picked up an extra point of influence somewhere. Could have sworn she had 3. Maybe something was obscuring it. Oh, so yeah, with 4 influence, she comfortably kills Fillet. Didn't she have 3 earlier? No. Decimate has 2 gang ups. And a commanding aura. She comfortably blows up Truffles here. Bang, 11 points. Decides not to shoot at the goal. I think she could have like acrobatic sprint shoot sort of stuff. But this crushes momentum, killing Truffles there, getting multiple wraps on Truffles. And obviously Tapper's going to kill Fillet without trying. 7 health versus 6 influence. Trivial for Tapper. But Decimate also had a goal run option. Yeah, we pick our biggest card, the 6. Obviously Frankie's going to pick their biggest card as well. And that's the end of the game. Close game. Frankie and I both had a lot of fun when we were discussing it. I think this was much, much closer than it might have looked. Spigot getting onto Fillet there messed things up. But Fillet came so close to killing an entire Brewers team there. If she went on the right target, if she killed Pint Pot, that might have been a win. Might have. If she threat bubbled out Spigot, so that she was unhindered for next turn and won momentum that way, she might have been able, like a dead Spigot last turn, and then her going on to Tapper and killing him at the top of the next turn. I think both of those were potentially winning lines. I think this game was a lot closer than it might have looked. We definitely suffered from not having a secondary killer. The fact that this was Veteran Ox and not Roast or Boiler or someone. Or Obor even. Obor is awkward in this matchup as well because he's also a 2-0. Brewers knock him down without trying. Roast might be better than Obor, but yeah, Boiler or someone. Just having another killer here. Maybe that would have done it. Anyway, I'm going to do something a little different with this video. I'm not going to wrap up just here before everyone leaves. I'm going to record one other thing. All right, let's leave it here. I'll make the next part of the video and attach it. I'll see you again in just a moment. Okay, I just wanted to analyze for a quick moment. What are some lines we can do against this very, very predictable Brewers opening? Brewers love to kidnap people with Decimate, set up with Tapper, execute with Hooper, usually set them to 1 health so that you execute the topper next turn and ensure your first and last activations, ensure you're crushing momentum with your prisoner, and then have a big scrum in the middle. What can we do to fight that? I just wanted to show, first of all, if we have Boiler in our 12, specifically for this matchup. So like last game, say Meat Hook's collected the ball, or Gutter on the other side, whatever it looks like they're threatening to kick off. But copying last game, when Meat Hook collect the ball, she kicks it to Princess, she banks the momentum. So options we have. Decimates, oh, not that one, that one. Decimates natural threat range is 9 inches. With Spigot's support, it's 11 inches. Acrobatics, it's 13 inches. Now, if Decimate has to Acrobatics, that's 1 fewer double push. She might not be able to push far enough to actually get Tapper, to let Tapper stay in a safe place. So Acrobatics is quite a tough one for Decimate. But either way, look how tough this threat bubble is. Meat Hook can make a 4-inch dodge back. We try to freeze the turn. This is not an easy turn to freeze. So if we all stay behind our deployment line, don't let Decimate have a turn. Decimate can go last. Acrobatics, charge. Charge makes a momentum, then the attack makes a momentum. Then the opponent wins. The opponent wins the momentum race. And so Decimate goes first at the top of the next turn. Say like Fillet has been pushed twice, charge. And then Decimate goes first, pushes Decimate into right into Tapper's waiting arms. And now our captain's being kidnapped. So that's the risk of freezing on Decimate. And just to explain the terms real quick, freeze against the kicker, you can attack the kicker, you can attack the ball, or you can freeze the turn. We'll go through these in a different video. Freezing the turn just means I'm trying to blank Decimate's activation. Trying to let my opponent do nothing. Let's start the game on turn 2 instead of turn 1. So I think this is usually what happens if you try to freeze the turn against Decimate. It's really, really hard. And that would be Meat Hook taking this dodge back instead of the momentum on the pass to Princess. Now, one big assumption we've made there is Decimate's charge and her attack is going to win momentum, plus the momentum they start with. So that's 3 momentum. Meat Hook has dodged back, but we are also offered pasta fillet, pasta boiler, pasta brisket, pasta gutter. If we make all the passes, that's 4 momentum. If we huddle up, and we're more than happy huddling up to get tap-ins and good scatters and things like that, we can kick again if we miss the pass. We can collect the ball, pass it again, things like that. So it's possible we could freeze the turn and win momentum with just a whole bunch of passing. So that if Decimate wants to come last, if Decimate comes in last, pushes someone a bit, and then loses momentum, Decimate's dead. Top of next turn, Decimate. Captain just kills her. And then the Brewers have got a very, very awkward position. So that's one potential strategy we could do for freezing the turn. We could try to freeze the turn and win momentum. A lot of that will depend on how good Decimate's kickoff is, whether we can do that. That's one option. Second option is accept the kidnap. Meat Hook passes to Princess. Meat Hook offers a target. As long as we keep the captain safe, we're fine. We give the ball to Brisket. Just like last game, Brisket goes and puts it in the goal. The only difference this time, instead of that veteran ox, we've got a very useful boiler. Boiler plus princess combo. That's one option, basically what we did last time. Another option we have that I've discussed with Isvan a whole bunch in detail, and he is much better at this sort of thing than I am. But one option we have is Meat Hook passes the ball to Fillet, or Princess passes the ball to Fillet is fine. Like, Princess can jog to here and pass the ball, and even if she misses, the ball still scatters onto you. So Fillet with the ball, and we do something like this. So Fillet, Boiler, jog to here. Let's make sure. Even if it's a sprint, honestly. Let's just say, yeah, Decimate's jogged somewhere to here to make the kickoff. Let's just make it a sprint. Boiler can sprint. Edge of 6 inches on Decimate. Boiler throws an axe at her. 75% on 4s. Against 3s, is it 83 or 86%? My brain's blanking. He's either 83 or 86% to hit the axe here. Decimate's tough hide, so she takes 2 damage and starts bleeding. Boiler throws a marked target at her. 66% chance to hit. Doesn't matter too much if it hits or not. Fillet has a 12-inch threat range smelling blood on that. She already threatens that. Marked target's not essential. Could even use the 4th influence passing the ball with Boiler if you really wanted to, depending on how the kickoff went. So we've acted. So Meat Hook's activated, retrieve the ball. Boiler's activated and done his thing. So that's 6 influence on Fillet, 4 influence on Boiler, 1 influence on Meat Hook, and then say second one for Tool Up and 1 on. This probably wouldn't be Brisket in this scenario. You'd pick a different player for this. Whoever that is. Maybe Cinnamon or someone. I don't know. Probably, not Cinnamon. Anyway, different player sitting there. You'd do something like this. Now, Fillet is threatening pass 4 inches, jog, 5 attacks, tough hides negated by smell blood. Fillet kills this comfortably. If she's lucky, she doesn't have to use a legendary play. If she's unlucky, she has to use a legendary. Either way, Decimate just dies. On the last attack, you'll get either a single dodge or a double dodge to go back. You can do something like that. Or you can just take the charge. Fillet keeps the ball on her. Charge. Kill Decimate and potentially have 1 roast, right. You can use Brisket or roast instead of Brisket. If Fillet has the Meat Hook, if Meat Hook tooled up on her from Meat Hook's retrieval, Fillet can charge, kill Decimate in the charge plus 3 attacks, and then pass the ball to Boiler. So 1 inch reach, 1 inch for the last attack, maybe 2 if you spike it, and then 4 inches off the ball dodge. You get back to somewhere like here. Not necessarily somewhere you're going to get killed in revenge. And Decimate just dies. So there's various attack Decimate lines. These are scary to me because even if Decimate's dead, with Spigot's help, that is Tapper's threat range. So we activate Decimate, kill her before she can activate. Tapper still does something like this to you. I don't know how to prevent this. I would love to discuss it if anyone has any ideas on how we can turn killing Decimate into a winning position. I would love to hear it. Whoops, that's not our captain. But that's roughly why I don't do attack Decimate. And then there is always the other option, attack the ball. Brisket was quite awkward last game. I think in future, one thing I was keen to discuss, as you saw in our last game, I was very hesitant. I was worried about Decimate stealing the ball and kicking it in the goal. Decimate comes forward, steals the ball from Brisket, and kicks it in the goal here. That's 4 points. Great. Good for you. We can dodge Brisket forward fairly early in the activations. That's fine. Brisket looks something like this. We just kick the ball back to Brisket on the kickoff. If some random idiot has to go pick it up and drop it to her, that's fine. Or drop it on the ground next to her. So if we do that early in the activations, that dodging Brisket forwards, Decimate comes in and scores. We have now 6 influence Fillet, tooled up Fillet, going straight into Decimate. Even if Decimate makes a 4-inch dodge, that's still this. And then we can dodge again, like on the killing blow. Depending on how the activations go, we might get a gang up, might even get a boiler axe. Probably not, because we do need to spend activations passing the ball to Brisket. But we have this, so we have the Revenge Kill on Decimate is 2 points, and we still have Brisket's goal run. The opponent can no longer prevent this. Their kicker is already activated. These guys aren't threatening Brisket from back here. So we get the Revenge Kill on Decimate, and we get the 6 points. 6 points, end of turn 1. They have 4 points, they have a goal, but we have 6 points, and our only exposed player is Brisket. Brisket can make the 4-inch dodge, that's fine. We don't care about winning momentum next turn. So Decimate's dead. Or on 1 health. It's tough for them to have time to quaff second wind Decimate. Even if they do, I think Fillet can still punish that. Maybe not. That might be a weakness of this. If Quaff has time to second wind Decimate before the goal run, maybe Decimate threatens run the length second wind to get too far forward for Fillet to safely be. Entirely possible. It's part of why this matchup is so complex and why I'd love to learn so much about it. But yeah, this looks like a potentially winning position. 6 points to 4 points, and only Brisket exposed. Let's do that. Let's play from here. The other lines we can do, so I'll keep this short, I know I'm starting to bore everyone, is we can play Captain Ox instead of Fillet if we've got Ox in our 12. And we just play something like Gutter, Boiler, yeah, maybe Shank, maybe Roast. Something like this. And we just build a team of killers and decide, let's scrum. Let's do this. In the past, I've dismissed this. Probably Herbor, actually. I know Herbor is awkward in this matchup, but something like this. In the past, I've dismissed this because Ox actually struggles to threaten Tapper with a one-shot. Ox threatens most people on his legendary turn to one-shot them. Tapper he struggles a bit too because he has to knock down Tapper. And if he has to charge knock down, that's only 3 influence left. Is not enough to get through 20 tough hide hit points, even for Ox. No, even with butchery hit and things like that. But you can play this matchup with Ox behind. So you can build your scrum something like this, except that Decimate's going to kill one of these. Decimate and Tapper are going to do their thing. One of these guys is going to die. And then you just play the scrum with Ox behind the scrum. Just play it with your +1 damage and play like the butchers. That is another option you can do. I don't know. I'd need to practice this matchup more. I don't know if you can do that. Would love to hear anyone else's feedback if they've tried. The one last option that I haven't tried against Brewers, period, and I'm keen to try next time, is the good old, traditional, every matchup, universal, amazing play, which is Shank kicks off or uses the ball if you're receiving. Someone passes the ball to Shank. 4-inch dodge versus 5-inch jog. They're both good enough. Shank's very fast. Shank ends up somewhere like here. War comes up behind him, declares legendary. Meat Hook tools him up. Shank's now tooled up. We discussed a lot of how much the Brewers lean on Tapper. That, hey, Tapper's really, really important to this. matchup. The Brewers really need Tapper. This kills anyone in the game. So tooled up and tough hide will negate each other. This is 8 attacks into a 3/1. Shank will usually kill that. You can bonus time liberally. You make a lot of momentum. You can bonus time a lot of those attacks. He hits 1,000 cuts, it's just instantly dead, basically. And you will often hit 1,000 cuts. Shank's not afraid of Tapper's double push. Shank's got movement and dodges for days. So if Shank turn 1 just does this and deletes Tapper off the pitch, does this win the game? The reason I'm nervous about this is if the Brewers just do something like this, it's a problem. Okay, you delete Tapper, you've comboed him. Congratulations, you're up 2 points. You're way ahead. And then Tapper jogs onto here. Now what? You can't do it again. Boar is a one-time bullet, or Boar Shank. Now, Tapper's admittedly on 10 recovery health here. So, maybe you can do it again. But this looks like a scary spot for veteran Boar here. I don't know that this is a winning spot, but it's something I would be keen to try. So if anyone's tried this or does try it, I would love to know the results. Absolutely. I think that's all for opportunities for analysis of Butchers versus Brewers. Like I said, very fun matchup, very, very unsolved matchup, and there are lots and lots and lots of different ways to play it. So please give me any of your thoughts, and sorry for the particularly long video, but I wanted to attach the analysis. Thanks for making it to the end. Goodbye, everyone.